Baba was explaining about the greatness of bindu dot. And Baba mentioned the various aspects of bindu. We are dots bindu, Baba is bindu, putting a full stop through drama bindu. Baba said everything begins with a bindu, everything merges into a bindu. Baba gave the example of tree, the seed of the tree is the bindu, and after it has fully grown, it also merges into a bindu. Baba gave the example of the atomic energy of destruction is a bindu, of soul, Atma is a bindu, that of creation. So everything, Baba said, is a bindu. And then Baba said, is it easy or difficult for us to remember the bindu? And Baba said, the more we realize and understand the importance of bindu, we will become easy yogis. So let us continue from where we left off. Baba says, therefore, may you be an easy yogi with an easy way of giving the return of love. Have all of you become easy yogis? When you start to expand on anything, you end up in difficulty. Because when you expand on a subject, there are many question marks. Therefore, just as a question mark is crooked, so too you end up on the wrong path by asking the questions why and what. When you go into expansion with the awareness of a bindu, you will find the essence. When you forget the bindu and start to expand, you end up in a jungle where there is no essence. When you stabilize in the form of a bindu, you will experience yourself to be an embodiment of the essence. You will be Yog Yukt and Yukti Yukt. Your awareness, words, and deeds will always be powerful. When you go into the expansion without first becoming stable in the form of a bindu, you constantly waste your time and powers in the wasteful words and actions of why and what. Because you then have to try and find your way out of the jungle. Therefore, what will you constantly remember? Just the one thing, a dot. Is this easy? Whether you understand the language or not, a bindu is used in all languages. Even if you know nothing else, you can at least learn the word bindu. Even if you know nothing else, you can at least learn the word bindu. So Baba is saying when we go into expansion, it is important for us to stabilize in the bindu, because then the essence stays intact. Otherwise, we may easily forget the essence whilst going into the expansion, and that's when we become lost in the jungle of thoughts. And that's when we start to ask questions, why and what. And so Baba says this is the easiest effort to just learn this word, bindu. Baba says, do you understand what you have to do? The word bindu is a word of great wonders. It is a magical word. Become a bindu and issue an order, and everything will be ready. Clap in your mind, and everything will be ready. A clap of a bindu will also be heard by the elements, by all your physical senses, and by your companions. Do you know how to clap as a bindu? Baba says, do you know how to clap as a bindu? Acha. To those who are constantly stable in their original and eternal form, to those who understand the greatness of a bindu and thereby remain constantly great, to those who are stable in the form of a bindu and thus attain the essence of all treasures, to the souls who are filled with essence, who are Yog Yukt and Jivan Mukt, Bap Dada's love, remembrance, and namaste. So let's take a moment to just go within and again experience ourselves as Bindu. Cha, then Bab Dada is meeting teachers. Baba says, all of you are spiritual servers. To be a spiritual server means to be full of spiritual treasures. Only then can you be a spiritual server. To be a server means to be one who gives. One who gives happiness to others by serving them is a server. Therefore, those who give must definitely be full. This is why they're able to give to others. So, to be a server means to be a master bestower of happiness, a master bestower of peace, and a master bestower of knowledge. To be a server means to be a master bestower of happiness, a master bestower of peace, and a master bestower of knowledge. A bestower is always someone full and complete. He will make others become like himself. If you lack a particular power yourself, you are not able to fill others with all powers. To be a spiritual server means to be an almighty authority, one with all powers. To be a spiritual server means to be ever ready and an all-rounder. An all-round server is a true server. So, do you experience yourself to have all the qualifications of a true server? Do you experience yourself to have all the qualifications of a true server? So Baba is saying a true server means the one who is constantly full, is a master bestower, is complete. Baba says is master, is almighty authority, ever ready, all-rounder. So all of this means to be a true server. Baba says, so do you experience yourself to have all the qualifications of a true server? Someone who is full is always content and will make others content. Any lack of attainment would create discontentment. When you have all attainments, you remain content. The way to remain content and make others content is to remain a bestower who is always full. You need to have both of these qualifications. which means to be content and to make others content. If you are full but not a bestower, you are unable to make others content. Therefore, be a bestower and also remain full. Be a bestower and also remain full. So Baba says both we need to develop to remain content and also to be a bestower so that we can make others content. Baba says, do all of you have the happiness of being special souls? Out of the souls of the whole world, only very few souls are instruments engaged in the Father's service. Therefore, it is a matter of great happiness that you have this part to play. Your name is amongst those souls who are a selected few out of multi-millions. Out of those selected ones, you are the handful who have become instruments. Do you have the spiritual intoxication that the praise of being a handful out of multi-millions is your praise? The greater your spiritual intoxication, the greater your humility will be. The greater your spiritual intoxication, the greater your humility will be. Intoxication based on body consciousness is very small, but because of their pride and arrogance, they consider themselves to be very great. Those who have true intoxication would always be very humble. And because of their humility, everyone would bow down to them. A bestower of happiness would be a very humble soul. Arrogance does not allow you to become humble. When there is no humility, service cannot take place. So the speciality of you servers is that when you yourselves are humble and bow down, others will then bow down to you. Therefore, become a spiritual server. Therefore, become a spiritual server. Always remember the word spiritual. Whilst you are walking, moving around, and speaking, let your spirituality be visible in everything you do. Let nothing be ordinary, let it be spiritual. Abba says, always remember the word spiritual. Whilst you are walking, moving around, and speaking, let your spirituality be visible in everything you do. Let nothing be ordinary, let it be spiritual. Let us take a moment to experience that we are spiritual embodiments of humility through which Baba's service takes place. We are those selected few out of multi-millions. Our intoxication is not based on body consciousness. Our intoxication is based on the truth. And it is reflected in our actions as humility. Our actions are not ordinary, they are spiritual. Baba says only a contented soul can receive the title of a server. When you are not content, you are taking service. So are you those who take service or those who do service? Spiritual servers are not those who take. They don't waste their time saying, today this happened, yesterday that happened. You don't take service by wasting your time over such. All of those things are childish matters. Your childhood is now over. You now have to give the return of what you have received. Let there no longer be any court. Do not take up extra time of the seniors. All the stories and situations have now ended. If you're still taking service, then stop doing that today. Put a full stop. The past is the past. So put a full stop. Before you leave here, finish it and put a full stop. Put a full stop and remain constantly content and make everyone else content. Put a full stop and remain constantly content and make everyone else content. Always remember this lesson. Acha. Acha. Let us again take a moment to realize that we are fully content. Only when I remain content can then Baba use me for service. So instead of taking service, I am able to be of help in Baba's service. And all the childish matters are now finished. I remain constantly content and I make everyone else content. Om Shanti. Let us take a pause here and we will continue tomorrow from where we left off today. So again, today Baba explained the importance of bindu, how it is important to stay in the essence whilst coming to action, otherwise we get lost. And so to really stabilize in the bindu is Baba's main message. And then Baba said how to be a spiritual server. What are the qualifications of a spiritual server? And so Baba said to be a master bestower of happiness, peace, knowledge, to be full, to be complete, to be ever ready and all-rounder, to be always content and make others content. These are the qualifications of a spiritual server. And then Baba explained how the sign that Baba has selected us, we are few out of multi-millions. The sign of intoxication is humility. And so our intoxication is reflected in terms of humility. And our actions should not be ordinary, but always spiritual. And then Baba explained, right, that to be always content to finish the games of not being content and to make everyone else content. Acha, Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, family. Let's take a moment and then let us share what we'll take from Baba today. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Let us share what we take from Baba. Om Shanti.
Good morning, brother. Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Baba, as was mentioning to Dadis, it also is applicable to us. And Baba says, to be spiritual servers means to be bestowers of knowledge, peace, and happiness. Thank you, Om Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Further to this point, Baba also mentions that the spiritual server is always content. There are no questions asked, and Baba says that childhood is over now, be mature enough. So the reflection on this point is always be in the self-respect that whatever is happening is benevolent and put a full stop. So Baba ingrains the essence of this whole Murli is where he mentions that put a full stop to everything. So remain in essence and don't get into expansion. These are the few points for me to take back home.
Thank you. Shanti. Thanks.
So Baba says the word bindu is really a great wonder, and it's a magical word too. So when we are able to stabilize in this stage, right, then everything will be ready. Everything becomes ready for us. Just like Baba gave the example, the clap. So when somebody clap, right? I mean, not somebody. I mean, a king clap. Then all the servants, right? Everybody comes and then take the order. So similarly, we can stabilize in the stage of bindu and then make our karmendriyas, right? Sense organs work under the direction of this bindu. So so this is, I would say it's only possible when we are able to or stabilize originally in our that eternal form. So that's the takeaway for me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Very nice.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Divine Family. And today's my takeaway is there's a more intoxication. It is a more intoxication is a more humility. And greater the intoxication, greater will be the humility and a very humble soul. So there is a let's experience and all we have to experience is and spirituality. And every action there is a spirituality. Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you.
Just adding on there, the spiritual intoxication and this, greater humility. So the more spiritual intoxication that we have, right, and then more the humility, right, will be in us, right? The greater the humility. So, and then Baba says that humility is very important to, that quality is very important to service takes place, right? So when we have this arrogance, right? So arrogance will not allow us to do service, right? So nobody would want to listen to somebody who's showing arrogance, right? So similarly, the other way, the other side, we have this humility. So humility um, actually give us that space for others to come in, give their mingle, basically. So Baba says you have to constantly remember this word spiritual. So the reason for arrogance is again lack of spirituality, right? Because we also need to think why the arrogance comes, because that is we have been practicing this body consciousness unknowingly for so many years, right? Almost to kalpas. To a yugas, right? 2,500 years. So the way to get rid of arrogance is going deep into that spiritual intoxication and experiencing. So here, I think the practice of bindu, stabilizing in that stage and experiencing more and more bindu and understanding my real existence, the true nature, where I've come from, who I belong to, and what is the purpose of my here. So when we are more aware of this, right, this piece of knowledge, right, the purpose of our life here, then of course I feel like it becomes easy to come out of arrogance. Yeah, Om Shanti.
Very nice.
Baba said to stabilize oneself as Bindu and to go into expansion means to also find essence in it, whereas to go into expansion without stabilizing oneself in the form of Bindu is worthless. It is further expansion. So the take home message was to stabilize oneself into as Bindu and then get into expansion. In such an aspect, you would still find some essence in it. Thank you. Shanti.
Nice.
So point that Vinod Bhai just mentioned, first stabilize in Bindu and then get into expansion. One way is to stabilize oneself in the soul conscious form and be aware that who I am as a soul, a point of light, and then get into expansion. So that awareness will, uh, while we are having this awareness, when we get into expansion, there is an awareness. The other person that I'm also connecting with is also a bindu, a soul. So in relationship or in any kind of conversation with other soul, other human beings, whether it's locking or unlocked world, uh, stabilizing oneself and point and then getting to expansion makes oneself to be very humble, and there is an awareness that there is everything beyond, and this body is just an instrument. That was one reflection. Any other things, Saurabh Bhai, that you can share, you would like to share, to have this experience of stabilizing in Bindu and then getting into expansion?
Yeah, I think two words come to mind. One is focus, the other is flow. When I focus inside, when the focus is inside, then I can easily flow outside with the drama. And when the focus is outside, then whatever is happening, it flows inside. Whatever happens outside, it flows inside. So either the focus is inside or it is outside. It's either or. So if I have not stabilized in the bindu, it means that my focus is outside. That's what it really means, I think, for me. And so that's why, Baba's just method of, just taking a moment or a second, before we, do anything. And this, when we say, oh, let's remember Baba before we begin, it is all about, again, calibrating the mind towards, the truth, so that Baba's Gyan drives our decisions, drives our minds, and not our, ego, or not the old sanskars, or not anyone else's opinions or things like that. And that's when, a lot can be accomplished in a short span of time. And, a lot of results come about when the focus is on the self. Otherwise, when the focus is not on the self, then uh, basically it's a game of then, creating karmic accounts when we get involved in the drama. And for me, before making any decision, or generally, like before getting into any service planning, or anything, it's so important to first, like Baba says, create a plain stage where there are no other thoughts, and that's where Baba can then touch. And then, based on that, then we do anything, planning wise. And so just stabilizing in the truth, in the reality of who I am, it really allows the soul to then, work based on the truth, the principles of truth. Yeah. Mhm.
That's been powerful, Saurabhai. Focus within and flow outside.
Mhm. 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 Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful tool that you've given today to not to get entangled in the drama around.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you.
Also, brother, I was wondering, sister, I was wondering if we consider soul to be like a torch, then it would throw light. Expansion is like darkness. If you go with that sense of being aware, then you would find things clear. But rather, if you switch it off and then still get into expansions, the darkness, you would not be able to understand things out there. So I was considering soul to be a torch and then getting into expansion.
Mhm.
That too is a
Nice.
powerful analogy, brother.
Mhm.
So that is wonderful. And when we are stabilized in the dot form, right, or the bindu form, and then coming into action, right, in this worldly action, uh, then we don't get stuck in the worldly actions that we are doing, because uh, uh, there are so many things that happens, right? So the question mark, everything ends, because that's the expansion. So the expansion is unlimited, right? So it makes us easy when it is a dot, right? When we come from the dot world, if we have that awareness, and then um, going into the jungle, that is the expansion of the outside world, right? Mm. And then if we are able to maintain that awareness, right, then it's easy for us, like brother said, it's the jungle or the darkness. We don't get stuck in darkness, or we don't get stuck in the jungle. It becomes easy for us to come out of it, because if we are able to maintain that awareness till the end, right, then we would also know that where we have to get back, right? we would also remember where we have come, and we would also remember after having done what we have come for, and then we would also remember where we have go to, the destination. So yeah, that was powerful. Thank you.
So, Rabbi, should we move on to meditation?
Sure. Let's take a moment to go within and realize our truth. We are all eternal beings, actors, bindus, visiting this planet Earth. This whole external life, external dimension is alien for us. So whilst interacting, whilst acting on the stage, we hold on to this reality. And this allows us to hold the essence and not lose the meaning whilst going into expansion. And this simple realization allows us to be of help in Baba's Seva, to be spiritual servers, true servers, all-round servers, easy yogis, always content, master restorers, always happy. And so we just remember this one word, bindu, throughout the day today. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Saurabai. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Until then, have a wonderful day.